Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Here in this video, we're going to get into everything you need to know on the day today with AMC stock, but we're also going to look at what the data is coming out tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be the first major important day of 2024. So far in 2024, we'll talk about what's been going on, but there's been selling of stocks for a couple different reasons. And again, we'll highlight that in this video as well and fully put tomorrow into context for everyone. I don't want anyone that at least watches this video goes into tomorrow blind, whether you are all in AMC, whether you don't own AMC anymore, whether you own AMC and other stocks, or you have other trades out there, right? Maybe you're trying to trade something right now. It's the start of 2024. There's been a lot of volatility. I don't blame you. Right? Tomorrow is going to be an absolutely epic day for stocks. So hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you guys think about all this information. What do you think about AMC stock also now being a penny stock? Under $5 per share at $4.75 per share. By definition, a penny stock is either a stock under $5 per share or a stock under a $500 million market cap. AMC is still over $1 billion market cap, but the stock is now under $5 per share, which technically qualifies it as a penny stock. A little bit disappointing. I really did not want to see AMC get down to these prices, but I mean, after all, we can go ahead and blame Adam Aaron for that, right? That is all Adam Aaron. He can take full credibility for the demise of AMC stock. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Nothing really is happening on the day today, okay? AMC stock's down about 6%, about 5.65% to be specific. I'll round to 6%. It's a pretty rough day. AMC stock is at $4.75 per share. You hit a new multi-year low today. If you guys did not check out the last video as well, I personally think you have to see a commitment from Adam Aaron to not dilute shareholders sometime in the near-term future. Without that, I think AMC stock will just be bogged down around these prices, right? Maybe we do bounce above $5 again. That would be reasonable to me. Or we stay in the fours, right? I don't really expect we're going to fall into the threes. Said that before. So we'll obviously see what happens. But my expectation would be a kind of a stabilization, if you will, of, AMC stock. Right. Without any further action taking place from Adam Aaron. Now, if he dilutes shareholders again, we're in for a big problem. But I think you really have to, at this point, give shareholders a commitment to not diluting them. Okay. That's what we need to see happen. Because retail investors do not have enough cash and capital to absorb all of the dilution. What did AMC just raise? $300 million? Or so. Where does that money come from? It comes from you. It comes from me, whoever owns AMC. So if we don't have enough to absorb that, then the stock goes down, right? Big money's not buying AMC because of that fact. So I think that's important to point out that is something that I think will be coming at some point here in the near-term future. I'm pretty confident that we will get a commitment to not diluting shareholders for a period of 2024. Maybe not the whole year. Maybe it's until like June 1st or so. But something along those lines. And I think that will be a positive for AMC. I think that will allow AMC to rally probably back to the 10s, maybe the 15s. I think it really depends on, if AMC is at $2, $3, $4, $5, when we actually get that announcement. That makes a big difference as far as what a percentage gain would be to get back into the teens. But I think the risk to reward buying AMC right now, pretty favorable as long as we do get that announcement. So that's really what is happening today. You are seeing people kind of fearful about dilution in AMC, number one. That's why AMC is down almost 6%. But on top of that, what if CPI comes out bad? That's the data that we get tomorrow. CPI, CPI, cooked data, who knows, right? But that's kind of one of those things where people are like, hey, I'll sell first. I'll ask questions later. It's the start of 2024. We're trading near all-time highs for the S&P 500. If we get bad CPI, well, I'll just buy back tomorrow or a couple days from now, right? So it's a sell first, ask questions later kind of market. So that is keeping things a little bit on the depressed side today. And that's also not helping AMC at all. But beyond that, there's actually not much that is happening in the markets today. We really don't have any data today. This is all just getting ready for tomorrow. Now, Atlanta Fed GDP Now tracker currently has GDP estimated, let's see, it's like 2.2%, I want to say. Not exactly sure why their website won't update, but around there. Now, bonds today are pretty much flat as well. I think just everyone is waiting. Dude, look at bonds. Look at how sideways they have been for a couple days now, right? Up and down, couple basis points here, couple basis points there. But we're really just waiting for CPI. If CPI comes in hot, treasuries are going to rally. Stocks are going to fall. If CPI comes in low, then, treasuries are going to fall and stocks are going to rally. And this will be the first kind of glimpse into what the inflation outlook might look like in 2024. Of course, this is CPI for December, but still, it does apply because that is probably how we're going to lead into January. A lot of people are pretty fearful as well about shipping costs. A lot of people are, thinking that shipping costs might have eked into the inflation data, and that might be negative for our markets as well. I'm obviously not in that camp, but that is why you are seeing the selling of stocks here on the day today. Now, let's go ahead and refresh the Ortex data for AMC stock, give you guys a broader picture of what's going on today. You have seen 5 orders from hedge funds and institutions totaling $217,000 with a positive order value of 0%. If you actually look at retail, things don't look all too bad. They look a little bit better than hedge funds and institutions, with volume to the call side of 74.8%, volume to the put side of 33.25%. So not looking nearly as bad on that side. If we take a look at the short interest data, keep in mind, I think these numbers are beyond false. I think they're egregiously false. I think AMC stock is hundreds of percent sold short, but you do have a short interest percentage of free flow at 7.98%, $100.79 million worth of short positions currently in AMC stock. Days to cover 0.99, 20 million shares currently sold short, 15.45 million shares currently out on loan, cost to borrow 1.07%, utilization of 27.68%, and a short score of 51.42 out of 100. So really, nothing exciting over here as well. Really nothing to write home about in regards to AMC. If we look at the option activity, though, that's where things could get a little bit more exciting coming into tomorrow. And we'll look at the option chain specifically here in just a second. But for this Friday, you do have calls in the money of about 1,300, calls out the money about 80,000, puts in the money 27,000, puts out the money 13,000. So there is a decent amount of option activity here on the day today. As you can see, TLT falling about 15 basis points here today. USO is up just a slight bit. The dollar pretty much flat today. Gold is up, down just a little bit actually. Gold probably has room to fall here. I'm liking the odds of gold falling, and I don't know if that'll necessarily be a good thing for our markets, but that'll be a good thing to see, like, hey, gold's a safe haven asset. So gold has been really doing well recently. If that's a sign of anything I've learned, is there's problems under the surface when gold is doing too well. Gold doing well is fine, but doing too well, yeah, you gotta ask yourself, like, hey, is there something going on here that we just don't know about? And it was kind of starting to get to that point here recently. Now, if you take a look at the most active strikes, the $5 call and the $5.50 call, by far the most active strikes. The $6 call has a lot of activity as well. Now, let's go ahead and pull up the option chain itself. And you can see for this Friday, You do have about 3,600 calls that are held in open interest for the $5 call, and about 21,000 held in open interest for the $5.50 call. The $6 call has 17,500 for open interest, and the $6.50 call has about 10,000 for open interest. 10,000 for open interest, just so you know, is 1 million shares that potentially would need to be bought in a gamma squeeze-like event. So that's 1 million shares. That's 1.7 million. That's 2 million, and that's about 360,000 shares here. So all in all, you're looking at, let's call this about 5 million shares roughly, right? That might need to be bought by hedge funds and institutions if AMC stock does start to, actually make its way higher. That will all really be dependent though on CPI, unfortunately, unless we get some news from, Adam Aaron and AMC specifically. It's all going to come down to CPI for the rest of this week and probably for a good chunk of next week's trading as well. Now, okay, let's go over the CPI, give you guys the latest estimates that they change based on data or sentiment or whatnot. So they may have changed. Let's take a look at them. Yep, and they definitely did. You can see core inflation month over month is expected at 0.3%. That would be the same as last month. So I think that it's a very low odds that you come in higher than 0.3%. 0.3% is still not great, but it would be the same as last month. So it would just be core month over month, not doing much. It's not great, but I think stocks are more priced for that now than I think they were heading just over the past, 2 weeks or so. I think based on this selling that you have seen in the markets broadly, people are getting more not comfortable with the fact that inflation is going to be around for a while, but some people are starting to kind of expect inflation is going to be around for a while, especially with the whole Red Sea situation that is going on. Best case scenario, core month over month comes in at 0.1%, probably comes in at 0.2% though, and that would still be good news. And it's actually good news because yesterday you were pricing in 0.2%. And now you're pricing in 0.3% for core CPI tomorrow. The expectations going higher is a good thing because that makes it easier to beat expectations coming tomorrow. So that's positive, very, very positive. Core year over year is expected at 3.8%. That's actually falling today as far as the expectations. Yesterday, the expectation was 3.9%. So that one's going to be a little bit harder to beat. Now, inflation rate month over month on your headline is expected at 0.2%. Last month was 0.1%. If you come in at 0.2%, it's not the end of the world. That's 2.4% annualized. Not a big deal. A little bit above the Fed's target, but not a big deal at all. If you come in at 0.1% again, that would be the best possible outcome here. Now, inflation year over year on the headline, I think this could also come in lower than expectations. Current expectations, 3.2%. Last month was 3.1%. So that's actually expecting an uptick as well on your year over year headline CPI number. Some of your headline numbers tend to get the most recognition, right? That's where, some people, react to the most. So, we'll see. Month over month is by far most important, but year over year kind of gets the headlines going. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. That's going to be the first big thing of 2024 is your CPI report. And that's going to set us up for trading probably over the next 2 weeks or so, I would imagine. We're not going to get much data over the next 2 weeks that's going to be as important as the CPI. We do have the Fed on January 31st, and that's going to be interesting. That could be setting us up for a disappointment as well because expectations are still that we're going to get a rate cut in March. If the Fed doesn't want to do that, well, they're going to let us know firmly on January 31st. So I think that's down the line a little bit. So yeah, definitely going to be waiting on that one also. Now, if you take a look at stock twits here, for the sentiment gauges, sentiment is extremely bearish at 1. Message volume is at 96. So this is pretty positive here on the day as well. You usually want to see message volume higher than sentiment At least, if you had to choose one, message volume I think is more important, and that is extremely high today. So I think that is good. Now, the percentage of stocks above their 50-day moving average at 74.16%, you are now lower than your peaks in January. So even though stocks indexes are holding up okay, right? They're still trading near all-time highs, looking for a breakout coming tomorrow potentially. Under the surface, the percentage of stocks above their 50-day moving average has basically been continuing to fall. So I think this is actually good news in regards to a continued rally from here, or CPI coming in better than expected, because I mean, with all of this selling under the surface, I mean, it's better to have the selling heading into a big data report rather than have stocks doing very well heading into a CPI report. Then even on a good CPI report, a better than expected CPI report, stocks could still sell off. I'll tell you right now, if we get a better CPI report than expected tomorrow, small caps probably going to rally 2 to 3%. The NASDAQ could probably rally half of 1% to 1%, and same for S&P or Dow as well. Small caps are definitely going to be the outperformer, and that could help bring in, this $6.2 trillion that is sitting in money market funds. It could start the process of bringing some of that money back into our markets. I'm pretty curious to see what Q4's numbers are going to look like for money market funds, and hopefully that data will be published here anytime now. So that's going to do it for this video. There's really not too much else to say as far as AMC stock specifically. It really comes down to Adam Aron's actions, what he wants to see happen to the stock. If Adam Aron wants to see AMC stock go higher, he will give us a commitment to not diluting shareholders. If he does not, then he'll dilute shareholders again. He'll send the stock to $2 per share. That's kind of the way that I'm looking at this right now. But CPI coming out tomorrow, between now and whenever that happens, that's going to be your biggest driver, at least in the near term, for AMC stock and the broader markets. Now, if you look at technical indicators like the RSI, you're at 23.59 for your RSI. Extremely on the oversold side. So yeah, definitely due for a bounce nonetheless. The MACD is kind of trading sideways here as well. So not too much to look into that. So let me know what you think down below in the comment section. Hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.